Hello and welcome to Cutter Farms. Today we're back with another episode of Farmville, North Carolina, and we're going to be spreading a little bit of lime on our fields here. We went overnight and filled this up, got everything switched back over now that we're done with harvest, brought our equipment back, did some repairs, some cleaning, all that good stuff. And we've moved the time into November here. We are on one-day seasons. And today's job is going to be to get our pH values up on our land, since this is going to be the full first year that we've run crops on these. In fact, this field we didn't even get any crops off of this year. It was a fallow field for us. So I'm looking forward to spreading a little bit of lime here. I think we've got everything set up here, so we're going to jump right into this with the precision farming stuff set up here on this save. We are enjoying all the more advanced mechanics that come along with that, and we are going to leverage the automatic spreading rates here as we have a number of different soil types across our fields, and it makes everything a little bit easier here for us. And so I'm really looking forward to getting some strong yields off of these fields here over the course of this next year. I've been debating what I want to plant into these fields, and I think we're going to do corn in this field. I think, based on looking at it, it was something like soybeans or maybe wheat the year before. And in our other field, we are going to go corn on corn this year. I want to really double down on getting some corn stocked up, as I'm expecting to need a lot more feed for our hogs. And with the feed mill that we're running there in town, we're going to need a lot of corn to keep them going. It's always a blessing and a curse when harvest gets done. Harvest is probably my favorite activity in farming in general. However, we did go on quite a few of those contracts. That big sunflower contract took a lot longer than I anticipated, and so it feels good to be mixing it up and getting into some different kinds of work. I am not looking forward, however, to running tillage on this field across from us. Now, with the new mechanics here with precision farming and stuff, I do have to be thoughtful about what kind of tillage we do over there. If I plow, depending on what kind of plowing I use, we're going to get rocks, either bigger or smaller rocks. I'd like to avoid getting large rocks in our field because they're a pain to pick up, and you can't roll the big rocks. So we could lease a roller and roll the smaller rocks. I do have a few tillage mods that act as mulchers, and so we could get a mulching bonus for that cornfield over there by running that tillage through and mulching and also getting some tillage. But we're going to take the penalty on not plowing after we have corn planted, I think. I think that's still a thing, which, ironically, we will also take a penalty if we do any kind of deep tillage with how precision farming is set up. So I'm kind of trying to play around with that, those numbers, and see what we want to do. We might try and just get a piece of tillage equipment that's going to both mulch and do more of a light tillage, like cultivating in Farm Sim here, and see how that works for us. And that'll balance out the precision farming environment score bonus, will balance against the yield penalty that we will likely take for not doing the plowing. So I think that's really the trade-off. Is your environmental score, I believe, is supposed to increase the amount of money you get when you sell crops, because you're being rewarded for, I guess, environmental friendly practices. And then the other side of that is our actual yield could be lower if we're not doing the plowing that's necessary after growing certain kinds of crops like corn. So we're going to play around with that a little bit and see how that works out for us here. We should be able to compare and contrast those values between this field, which shouldn't have any of those kind of penalties, and the field across the way, which just has or will have some of those kind of penalties for having corn in there previously. And so this will be a nice test case. I haven't played around with this a lot since precision farming came out, and so this will be my first real experience kind of seeing how that all works and how it plays together. And does it work the same as with the base game mechanics, or does precision farming override those tillage mechanics? I just don't know yet, so we'll play around with it a little bit, see if we can figure it out. Now, I was really hoping that this full hopper of lime was going to get us through this field, and it looks like we are not going to complete this field. We're going to have to run back and refill, which, if I'm not mistaken, this is the bigger field. They're not too different. This one's a little bit bigger, and so we will probably have to make a third trip is what I'm worried about. I really don't want to have to do that. So we're going to spread what we can here. It's not much, and then we'll run up, get another load, and see if we can knock out these fields, see how far we get with the second load. I'm really thinking we're going to need the third load, though, just looking at how this plays out. We're back up here in town, and as you can see, I've done a little bit of the landscaping here around the feed mill again, just getting it all set back up. However, you can still see there's some sunflower stalks sticking through. I can't actually run the landscaping tool under the building itself, the way things work, and so we're still probably going to end up having to sell that building and empty everything out of it so we can sell the building and clean that all up and replace it. It's really frustrating, I won't lie. I'm very upset about it after I spent the good chunk of an episode doing the landscaping for all of that, and it all just disappeared. So we're gonna try not to think about it too much. But every time I drive by, I might be a little bit bitter for the rest of the series. As you can see, we're up here at the co-op and using the bulk fill station here for the lime. It's not costing a lot. It's about $1,600 here per load. We're gonna need one more load after this, most likely. So that's what, $3,200, $4,800. So should be just under 5,000 for 3 loads of lime here, which is not too bad, given that it should give us a fair amount of a yield bonus here for a couple of years running. We'll definitely see the return on this investment over the next couple of harvests. I don't think we're going to have to put more back on for a little while. Now, since we're going to have to do this field anyway, I'm kind of tempted to just pull in here. This doesn't look too steep. There we go. And we'll just do a pass right here along the edge of this field. It looks like I can spray the fertilize the neighbor's field over there, which I don't really want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and hit this as long as we're over here. Take a little bit of efficiency here, get one pass done, and it looks like I'll be able to fill this whole spot between the bins. If I'm not too picky, which I don't think I'm going to be, we'll just cover this. I won't try to squeeze into that last couple of feet by the bin there. And then we're just going to work our way right on over into this gap. Man, we're already through 15% of our lime on this fill, though. It goes so fast. I suppose we could turn off the flashers at this point, though. And yeah, this isn't going to take too long here. Couple of rounds, we'll be done with this field before we run out for sure. We did set up GPS to help us out a little bit here, so we're gonna leverage that to knock out these last 2 rounds and check in once we get started on the other field here. Well, we've managed to wrap up this field with 38% left, which should be enough to get going on this other field. I'm gonna cut right in front of this car here because I want to hit this part by the driveway before we do anything else. As long as we're here, that was quite the risky move with how traffic is on this map especially. But we're feeling a little gutsy today, I guess. And with that pass done, I'm going to come down here. We're going to grab the far pass over here. We're going to turn around right here, and we're going to line up alongside the yard here. We're going to set up a GPS track and see if we can grab this section without putting too much over into the yard. I should be able to just align to this heading, and away we go. I have to say it's been so nice getting all the GPS commands hooked up to my Stream Deck so I don't have to think about what the key combinations are. I've just got nice fancy buttons set up that are well labeled so I know what's going on. And it looks like we've already got a fair amount of weeds in this field. Now, thankfully, we'll knock those out when we do some tillage here. And depending on the type of tillage, I guess that's one advantage if I did some traditional plowing is I think that knocks the weeds out so you don't get any weeds through the next growth cycle. I don't know what we're going to do here. We might have to think about that. I've been looking at the tillage charts from the Farm Sim Academy, is it what it's called? I'm not sure. And looking at what the different tillage options are going to do for us. So we'll have to take a look at that, but we are going to need one more load of lime here to knock this job out. So we're going to sneak out here. It's not exactly a field driveway, but close enough, and run back up and get this last load. We're back up at the farm and trying to wrap this up. Man, we took a pass and a half here, and we're already at 75% of what's in the hopper here. I'm actually slightly nervous we're not going to get to the end of this field, but we'll see, we'll see. We use a lot more when we're going through this stretch where the soil is a little bit different quality. You can see we're having to raise it by 0.75, 0.625 now, down to 0.5, 0.25. So different parts of the field, I see the amount in the hopper drop a lot faster. I guess I shouldn't complain too much because I think that strip through the middle there that takes the additional pH is actually some of our better soil. And I think that we're going to yield a lot better in that soil type, at least for corn, which is our main crop here. So we're going to have to look at the crop chart and see which crops grow best in which soil types. As we get to a certain point, we may want to target certain crops in certain fields. We'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm happy to say we're on the final round here. We've got plenty of lime left in the hopper. My concerns apparently were unfounded. So we're going to go ahead and just clean this corner up and take this last pass down. I think precision farming is actually going to be smart enough to help me not waste a lot of product on the way down here. I think in these types of spreaders, you can set it so it's only going out one half of the spreader. But unfortunately, it's not going to visually represent that here for us, but you can see the percentage isn't dropping very fast here for what's left in the hopper. So with the main part of the field done and a bit left here in the spreader, we're going to go ahead and just hit these couple of big chunks that we missed. Maybe I'll go back up by the front of this field by the house there. I think I missed a little strip I wasn't going to be too worried about, but as long as we've got the lime left over, we might as well use it, get everything up to par, and maximize our yield. We do only have these two fields, so I think it probably makes sense. With that, we have finished spreading the lime on all our fields, getting that pH level up, and we're going to be needing to return this. I believe I leased this spreader, come to think of it, so we're going to get it all cleaned up here before we send it back. That's the nice thing to do, and we'll get it all emptied out. I think we'll just toss the lime back in some pallets here and store that in the shed. We'll need it at some point in the future, I'm sure. And then, yeah, we can get rid of that lease. We've had it for a few months now. Not costing a lot, a few $100s a month is all. But in our current economic situation, we might as well save every dollar we can. Looks like that's only going to be about 2 pallets there that we need to worry about. And if we hop in here to the leased items screen, we can go ahead and just return this straight out. There we go. It looks like the leasing cost was a little bit more than I thought, $700 and something per day. That's all right. Or maybe that's our total over the last couple of days. I am not sure. Either way, that's a job complete. And I think we're all wrapped up here on fall. We might do our tillage here. I'm going to look around, see if I can find a better mod for doing some tillage. If anybody has any suggestions, do let me know. I'd love to get in here, and maybe I'll use Dennis Farms. I think had a mod that would mulch and cultivate, or mulch and plow. I don't remember, like a VT style tool. I might try that out. That might be a fun one to use. I know we don't have a lot of money, and we do already have a disc. So in theory, I could just disc it up and be good to run this planter over it. Honestly, this planter is probably set up as no-till, so I could probably just plant right into that. I don't know. We're going to think about it. We might find something just to play around with it, since I do want to see what the bonus is for mulching and things like that. However, I think we're going to wrap up today's episode here. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, drop a like. It helps out immensely. Well, that's all for today. Kedrick out. Yeah, it feels... I always... blah, blah, blah. All out the door, that's, you know what, 3... My goodness, guy.